Hello everyone, Tanya here from Six Pack Mamas, or Gutsy Mama as some of you know me, and I'm here in my studio, my lockdown online studio, and today I have a best friend with me, and I asked her here just to share a bit with you and have a conversation about how our friendship began. It began over gut health. And all things gut health, and so we just thought that maybe it would be helpful to all of you to hear a bit about our experiences and what it means to really have somebody support you in your journey. Does it make a difference? Is it helpful? So we just thought we'd take a few minutes of your time to chat to you, share with you, and then also to make a unique offer to you at the end of this. So this is my dear friend Geeta, and as I said, we really became close, and our friendship started all because of gut health and gut issues and health in general. So at the time when I met Geeta, I was typically doing my gut health journey, diet. For me, that meant I was eating mainly in a carnivorous way. Some of you are familiar with carnivore diet, although I don't really like to label my diet because it changes depending on the needs of my body. So I don't not eat any plants or any veg or any fruit. I do, but my focus is what is healthy and what works for my body, and what is good and strengthening for my gut. And I think this is a good place to start. So if I can ask you, Peter, when going back to when we first met, what was your health journey like up until then?
Thanks, Tanya. Good to be here. So I have always been very health conscious, and up until the point when we first got together, I was on what most people know as a ketogenic diet, and I was eating loads of protein, loads of veg. My main focus was really to, at that stage, get my weight down and under control. And the whole concept of intermittent fasting was also introduced the same time that the keto diet was introduced. So I developed a fascination of the science behind it, and I'm very keen on that. And usually when I speak to the people who are considering a diet, I always just encourage them, understand why you're doing it, understand the science behind the actual diet you're taking, that you're going to take on. So when I met you, we met for coffee, and we met at a restaurant. And it was interesting because one of the things I noticed was I wasn't ordering any food and she wasn't ordering any food either. And I thought, okay, this is interesting. And we were both having, I think it was sparkling water, and I also had a herbal tea. And then the thought kind of got into my mind, maybe she does intermittent fasting. She's looking pretty good, pretty slim. And I can't remember how we got onto the topic, but eventually found out your way of eating.
I think you asked me, don't you want something to eat? Because we were chatting so long, and it came to supper time, and you're like, here's the menu, don't you want something to eat? And I said, no, thanks, I don't eat supper.
Yeah. So anyway, then we got into the whole sort of conversation of your way of eating, which was sort of a step further into the keto diet. So I was very fascinated. You sent me links.
Yeah.
And with the links came the introduction to gut health. Now, I had dabbled a little bit in gut health. I was already into making my own sourdough, and I think in that clip it was talking about all sorts of conditions that come from the gut. And one of the things that stood out for me was skin eczema. Oh, and you told me as well you were a sufferer of asthma
Yeah.
and also skin condition,
Yeah.
and it was pretty chronic. Because how old were you when you were
My
diagnosed?
asthma started when I was 9 months old, so I was put on medication basically from baby right up into my mid to late 30s. That's when I was on chronic medication. Yeah.
So I was actually really shocked. And then on top of that, you told me you were a fitness instructor, and I'm like, what? So do you have to take your asthma pump with you? And then you proceeded to tell me just how the gut health and the healing, your healing journey, brought you to the point where you actually got the energy to be a fitness instructor. Your lung capacity had increased and healed. Um, and I think from there, we basically ventured into something together that we really enjoyed talking about and set out to see what we could do for other women.
Yep, yep. And that basically looked like Geeta and I both love video chatting. There's just something about seeing each other, when we couldn't be together like this on video chat. So we would talk about, she would share with me what she's feeling, where she's at, what she typically eats. And I would do the same.
We ran a challenge.
Yeah.
We
yeah,
actually,
yeah,
we
that was
decided,
May.
we decided to do the whole GAPS diet.
Yes.
GAPS stands for gut and psychological syndrome diet.
Yeah, yeah.
And because Tanya had gone through the diet before, she was taking the lead. So she basically coached me, and I thought that was pretty helpful because I was new into this. And first thing for day one, I got a message, welcome to day one, and then a reminder of the foods that we were going to eat that day. And that I found was a good start. I've never ever had anybody, that I could talk to. We spoke about how our digestive system was behaving, everything from a runny tummy to constipation. Only girl talk. And also, embedded in that was also the discovery of how we were in our moods, because when you clear up your gut, I think we found that our brain fog had lifted, and also our hormones were starting to balance out. So we also touched on that as well.
Yeah. So we basically, just spoke about everything under the sun to do with what typically a woman would go through, everything from chronic diseases, suffering, like between us, what overlapped in our illnesses was the eczema, the skin issues. I had asthma, she didn't have asthma. The mental energy and the lack of mental energy, and of course being overweight and feeling of being bloated, and like Geeta was saying, the elimination issues that we sometimes struggle with, and just the usual aches and pains that you typically associate with, you're just getting older, you're a woman in your mid to late 40s, so you're supposed to feel like this. And then we discovered, no, actually, everything's got to do with your gut. And when you heal and seal your gut, a lot of these issues, even the major ones, so we didn't suffer from type 2 diabetes, for example, but in my family, my wider family, we had things like psoriasis, mental issues like brain fog, lack of concentration, and then of course the allergies like sinus, I was going to say high fever, hay fever, like Wi-Fi's on my brain. So hay fever, and the seasonal allergies, and food intolerances as well. So we couldn't eat this or that because it would aggravate the gut, or you would feel low on energy, or those reactions when you have a food allergy or an intolerance. So we spoke about that, and that looked like video chats, lots of video chats, and then just implementing all those foods that I discovered over the years, like Geeta was saying, the GAPS diet, it was developed by a doctor called Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride. A few of you have seen her videos linked to my website. And that's when I got introduced to all things gut and shared with Geeta, about fermented foods. She had some knowledge about, she taught me how to make homemade yogurt. That was cool. I loved yogurt. Commercial yogurt was didn't help me as much as I loved yogurt. But I found discovered through trial and error that even though homemade yogurt's much better than commercial yogurt, my family certainly enjoyed it, but there was only a limited amount I could eat before it started to aggravate my gut and set off my sinuses, my lungs would wheeze, and I would cough and stuff. So there were still things that I learned and discovered, and we started discovering them together, and we just thought more and more that in this this whole gut health topic, or overweight or underweight issues that women struggle with, there clearly seems to be a need for friendships like ours to develop, and it's so amazing. I think Geeta, you can also speak to that. I definitely found that even though you describe me as a bit further along in the journey of my health and my knowledge and things about the gut, I definitely felt supported and encouraged and strengthened, just having somebody to bounce thoughts and ideas off, and also to share those valuable things that I found, because I think the blessing and the joy comes from actually giving away what you got, whether that's knowledge or something, physical, tangible that you can bless somebody else with. There was definitely a joy in that for me. I know Geeta often, thanked me for sharing stuff with her, but just to see the joy on her face when she discovers, hey, this works. And I think it was when you were able to, one of those times when you were able to reduce your allergy medication.
Oh yeah, so I was taking allergy tablets every day. If I didn't, I could go maybe 1.5 days before my skin actually started crawling, itching, nose would be itchy, scratchy, post-nasal drips would start. But it's been 6 months? 6 months?
Yeah, like
6 months.
Lockdown, basically.
Yeah. So just as lockdown was happening, and after our discussion, our initial discussion, I thought, right, that's it. These medicines are costing me too much. I'm sure there's a remedy, and the remedy was fixing the gut.
Yeah.
And the most recent happy face that I have, I had an outbreak of eczema on my skin. And it kind of started under my eye, kind of spread. And I said, Tanya, I don't know what this is. I think I'm getting skin cancer. Panic. And I proceeded to haul out little remedies I thought would help. That would include a bit of aloe application or a bit of bee balm. And nothing was working. And then we went back to something that we had used within the GAPS diet, and that was goat milk kefir. So I was so desperate, ladies, let me tell you. I'm standing in front of the mirror and I'm putting the stuff on, pasting it, and I can tell you within a week it's cleared.
Yeah.
My skin's not smooth, but at least it's not that angry red rash. So those are one of the joys we share. It's like kefir
gold and kefir. Yeah, no, that definitely cleared up my eczema. I think it was 2019. I had my hubby take photos because my eczema developed at the back of my neck for some reason, and I had it on my inside of my elbow. And I had read up and researched goat milk kefir, and I thought, hey, this stuff is loaded with good bacteria, and if it feeds the good bacteria in your gut, what does it do to the bacteria outside of the gut? Because there's good and bad bacteria on our skin as well. And I started putting it on, and within, I think from May last year was when I started, and then just around about the 8th of July, I think was the last photo my hubby took of my neck. and it was completely cleared. So within that
July this year?
last year,
Last
so May
year.
to July last year, I had eczema and it never came back. And you know, so there's little gems like that that we can share. But yeah, so you know, we've spoken about just over 15 minutes, and we could go on and on and on and on. But here's the offer that I want to make to you. So I'm increasingly aware that there are women like me and Gita out there with various struggles with their health. The most common seems to be, you know, overweight, and I hear this, you know, lockdown weight, and I know it's a big thing. It was a big thing for me. It was a big thing for Gita. You just don't feel yourself when you know you've put on extra kilos, and you are desperate to get the weight off as quickly as possible. But I also found over the years that, yeah, it becomes a yo-yo dieting cycle typically, because as fast as you take it off, it's as quickly as you put it on, and then some more. Because as long as you're sitting with an unhealed, unhealthy gut, your weight never gets to that balanced, stable position that you get when your body's healthy. When your body's healthy, weight takes care of itself. And it feels effortless. I was just chatting to another lady today, because I had a Jerusalem challenge at Gita's work today. So she was so shocked when she heard that I hardly eat any veg. And she was like, so I don't have to feel guilty when I eat meat. I said, no, you don't. Meat is good. It's one of the most nutritious foods we have, and I'm so grateful for, because through, you know, lots of protein, good fats, it's done a lot of healing and brought a lot of health to our bodies. So I would love to share, and we would love to share what our journey's been all about. Now, we are not medical professionals, we are not dietitians, we're not health practitioners, so we are not dishing out medical advice. If you have medical issues, please consult your doctor. All we're doing is, you know, doing what we did, being a friend, sharing our journey, and hopefully hoping it will help you and put you on the right path to your gut healing journey. Now, you know what it costs. It's difficult for me to put a price on what I do. I really don't have a number, but what I would say is, you pay me what you feel it's worth to you, whatever that is. I do it with the greatest of pleasure. I am so passionate about health, and it does bother me that so many women are struggling out there, and it's just such a simple solution. It is really that simple. Fix your gut, everything else comes right. So that's about all I can say about that. Whatever it's worth to you, whatever you feel it's worth to you, that's what you pay me. But that's my offer for today. Thank you guys for giving me almost 19 minutes of your time. I hope you have a great day further if you're catching us in the morning. And yeah, from us, we wish you the best on your gut healing journey. And you can click on the link below. There will be a link posted, and all I will need from you is your name, your email address, and I will email you all the details you need if you're interested in my offer today. So thank you, Gita. Thank you, my friend,
Great
for
being
doing
here.
this. Yes. And we will see you maybe soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.